am Brittany Antoinette of Flawless Inspirations. We are a calligraphy and hand lettering service provider in the Chicagoland and beyond area. As you see, we're doing a mukbang. And to my right, I have my bestie.
Hey, hey.
So, no, that's Smile. We're going to cut that out. This is my bestie.
Hi, Jessica Holmes.
Yes, and she is entrepreneur extraordinaire, mom, wife, friend, as I mentioned. And so we're just going to kind of get into this mukbang. We have a little seafood mukbang going and just have some questions about entrepreneurship, calligraphy, other things. Just have a real conversation. So yeah, let's dig in. So Jessica, when we're talking about entrepreneurship, how long have you been doing like running businesses? And
my own business, I think I'm like at year 9 or 10 or somewhere in that range. But like managing places and running places, I don't know, forever. Yeah,
right.
Since she
was actually one of my managers when I was in high school. But so actually, just what do you do? Tell me, like, what?
So I have a business called Soul Boricua. It's a fusion of my Puerto Rican and African American roots is the name. And we started off as like, I would say like a catering and event planning company at first.
Right. If any of you all have ever, well, not any of y'all, but for the ones who came to my first hand lettering workshop ever, Brunch and Brushstrokes, she was actually the caterer for Brunch and Brushstrokes. It was really good. But yeah.
Yeah, so I started it that way. And then like it's kind of morphed into like a million other things. So we have a product, a couple products that we sell, like a seasoning line. And where I really found my business to start to take off was in consulting. So now I do consulting for a lot of like organizations, food businesses, organizations like the Greater Food Depository, Growing Home, Windy City Harvest, just like a million different organizations where we do like trainings, but we also do like soft skill development, serve safe stuff, anything revolving around food, customer service. That's pretty much what we do.
And what would you say would be one of the challenges that you've had as an entrepreneur, but that's allowed you in terms of like your consulting to, you know, make sure that those businesses aren't kind of running into the same issues?
Really, it's really about organization, right? Like trying to plan things out, being organized. I think a lot of times, especially when I see like entrepreneurs, they try to be like everything to everybody, right? And we can't do that. That's impossible. Like even these big multi-million-dollar companies have a particular target market that they're looking at. Like, so you can't be everything for everybody. And I think that's important to understand who your customer base is first. Yeah. And not try to be like so diverse that anybody can come in here. Like that's not realistic. Yeah. That's not what McDonald's does. That's not what Starbucks does. So if you can really hone in who your target market is and then begin to kind of plan for those people.
Yeah. I know I ran into that when I first started, and as a calligrapher, it was just like, you know, get my name out there, and I was doing things that, because I was always very crafty, so I was doing like fun crafts, and so I would like post like the mugs I was doing online and just lettering on those, or just any kind of random projects that I was doing in order to just show off the skill set. And then like down the line I realized I don't really like products. Like I don't, and I like honestly, because I think that with calligraphy and products, you know, it's a slippery slope, because the price, if you want to especially like charge for your time, you can't do that because there's still a cost of goods, right? And so it's like, you know, this $8 mug isn't worth my time necessarily to do, because I wasn't able to like produce it in a certain way that would make it, in my opinion, kind of like fair in terms of what I wanted to charge and what in terms of like just the time I may have spent on it. And so I realized, okay, products aren't really my thing, so I scaled back. And then it was like, in terms of the industry I wanted to go to, so I kind of siphoned a lot into the wedding industry, where it was like, okay, this is, I think, you know, understanding like in the wedding industry, what would have the biggest like cost, what's the called, cost benefit now, like I don't know, but like what would yield the greatest like profit to me. And so that's just how, even when I was like looking into rentals and doing signage and stuff like that, it was like, you know, but even now it's interesting because I'm low-key wanting to shift away from like signage.
The signage that you've been doing.
Yeah, because it's like, you know,
it's labor intensive.
It is all of me like having to deliver signage. And that's to Jessica's point about trying to be everything to everybody too, like in terms of having a team, and then like even with the team and the people that I have used to like deliver stuff, I gotta pay them, but that's an added cost. So it's just a lot of things where it's like, you know, trying to determine whether or not it is to my benefit in terms of the business, and then just not wanting to end up resenting the business, you know. So I think that's a big thing that happens to entrepreneurship. Like entrepreneurship burnout is something that we should definitely talk about, because it's, you know, it's all cute to say that you're one, but then when you start burning yourself out from doing it, and you know, start resenting yourself, your business, your talent, your clients, then you get all those passive aggressive reels that I really want to talk about.
But how do you, as an entrepreneur, how do you balance like the work and the life, seeing as you're the sole runner of the business? Like, how do you balance the two?
So this year, two things came for me: raise prices and say no. And honestly, and I didn't do like a big spike in terms of raising my prices, but I didn't really raise them since like 2019, and that was more like a cost of living increase. And then, you know, because COVID hit, so it was like, okay, let me give breaks. And then even with COVID, I stopped charging people like the rental fee, because I was like, you know, I'm gonna waive this because everybody's going through it, so it was something nice. So this year I was like, you know, let me raise my price, and then in raising prices, if I can pull in the target that I want, then I don't have to take every job just to get the amount that I want at the end. And so, but it was, you know, it was still, like I said, it was still fair. It wasn't just for the purposes of like being able to slash jobs, but it was like recognizing, again, like talent and, you know, things like that. So with with raising prices and saying no, it's funny because last year or this year, I did literally like half of the jobs I did last year and still met what I met. So I technically took a loss, I would say, just because if I had accepted as many jobs, or if I hadn't gotten ghosted as many times as I did when I gave the new price, I probably would have had a lot more revenue come in, but I had a lot more free time and breaking even as to what I got last year. And even being able to do live events where a lot of those helped actually put me over. So like when I'm speaking of the same pricing, I'm saying more so on signage, but adding live events put me over.
Right.
What I did last year. Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's how you avoid burnout: diversifying your portfolio, finding ways to make passive income. Obviously, like live events and stuff like that is still active because I have to be there, but I have a lot of digital products as well. So getting those together.
So in saying no, right, and changing prices, do you think that hurt your business a little bit? And we're talking about hurting it, like, are there any failures that you have? Like, what are those failures that you might have?
So I actually don't think that it hurt my business. I had a late start to wedding season. which is between like April. Well, it starts kind of like late April, early May, and goes through October. And so I had a late start.
Okay.
And I was looking at a lot of people that were like, "Oh my God, it's so busy." And I was just like, "Dang, I played myself." Like, congratulations. But then it ended up picking up, and again, with like the pricing and stuff, it's okay. Like, it's a dog going ham because he hear voices. It's all right.
Okay. Loki is alive.
But if it was at my house, you would hear Mink. So, with my cat, because she would put up too when she did. And I feel like the scratching is less annoying than like a meow.
Oh,
Girl,
for
that
me?
drives me nuts.
Yeah, she does have a meow. And consistent with it. Like, it was nonstop.
Yes. So anyway, so I don't really think that raising my prices and saying no hurt my business. Because I also feel like if the people that are for you, and the people that understand like the value to an extent, even like long-term customers who have been there from the beginning, who have had the lower prices and things like that, who understand the growth, those are kind of the clientele that you want to keep with you as you evolve anyway, because they kind of put in more of the effort when it comes to like, okay, I do custom work. So it's like they put in the effort of like making sure they're a part of their experience and things like that. Now, there are situations where, the only thing I feel like kind of hurts my business sometimes is that like, it's me more so. Like, it is me, it is my anxiety, it is my irritation, it is my like, for instance, and just for transparency, like if I get somebody that's waited to the last minute to like request something, and then like once we make communication or whatever, all of a sudden it's like rapid fire in my emails. But you was the last minute person. I'm gonna probably cut this out. But you was the last minute person. Then I'm gonna get an attitude. I'm gonna be upset. So it's just stuff like that with my anxiety, or like I have stuff to do, and I know I need to work on my communication a lot more. So I think that in those respects, I would more so count those as failures than like the actual part of like revenue or exposure, things like that. It's just kind of the things that I've done that don't live up to like quote unquote like the luxury side of the business.
Gotcha. I think that not understanding my limit. Right? So as entrepreneurs, we get emails, we get gigs, we can book this, we can book that. And not understanding, trying to say yes to everybody and not understanding that, girl, you can't do this.
Yeah.
And you need to stop and you need to slow down and understand that there needs to be a balance, because you can easily overwork yourself. And I realize it because you're like, well, I got a goal to reach and I got this to do. And it's like, oh, girl, you better leave that goal right there.
Yep.
Switch it up and do something different, because you're going to overwork yourself. And then what ends up happening is you begin to be like resentful and bitter of the business, right?
Exactly.
And then but the whole reason you did it was because you was bitter and resentful about the job you was working, right? And now you're gonna be bitter and resentful for this. Like, no, you gotta balance that out so that you don't become that way, right?
Right. And that was one of my biggest fears. So in 2018, I left my job, my full-time job, because I was like, this is for the birds. Like, and I had so much, there's that anxiety word again, but it was like, because I wasn't at work, I wasn't delegating. Then with the business, I was like so enthralled with it actually in the beginning, where I was like, oh my God, this is my passion. This is really what I want to do. And so I left the full-time gig because it was at complete opposites with this like budding passion. And then in 2020, I had the opportunity to go back, and I cried for like 2.5, 3 weeks, like straight, about like going back to work, because I was so afraid that like I would be back in the same situation that I was in
Right.
when I left, in terms of like the anxiety. And so like, but a lot of what I learned over those 2 years, in terms of not so much delegating, because I didn't have that part down yet, but just like running a business and being an advocate for myself. And like I was able to bring that back to work so that I could have that balance.
But then it's like going back, you're like, but oh my God, did I fail? Like, you know what I'm saying?
That was part of my tears.
Right, and that's anxiety too. And no, I don't think that's a failure. I think that's smart, right? Adjusting your life. Everybody's life and life plan and what happens doesn't look the same. Like
Right.
everybody's, I think that's so important for entrepreneurs. Like, don't compare yourself to what everybody else is posting.
Exactly.
Don't see what everybody else is doing. Like, why can't I be on this vacation right now? Why can't I have that type of money? Like, everybody's plan is different.
Exactly.
And if social media does anything, it makes us compare ourselves to other people, which we truly, as an entrepreneur, you have to step away from that. Because I know I've had lots of anxiety about, oh my God, but I didn't even this Christmas time, I didn't post nothing really for the Christmas on my business page. No, because I was enjoying my family, and that's okay, right? And that's okay,
right? And that's one of my big things too. Like every time I see like a Christmas post or whatever, when somebody's actually lettering, because I'm like, I take the lazy way. I just post a picture with like with 2 peace signs, like, "Hey, Merry Christmas!" Like, but I love like the people that plan ahead and they have like the posts where it's like they're actually lettering it out and stuff like that. And I guess since we're talking about social media or whatever, like what is, because I feel like we both like kind of stray away from it sometimes, but like how do you, I don't know, because I feel like I want to say like how do you manage and how do we manage, but I know like you also don't be posting because
I don't manage. I mean, I feel like one day I'll be big enough where I have a social media marketer on staff and they can do what they need to do. But until then, it's just me. And so I'll post when I can and I do what I can when I remember and when I can. But that's it. But to be honest, like I haven't really posted consistently on my business page in years. Like a consistent, like I was doing like YouTubes and I was doing
right, I remember that,
blog posts and recipes, and I stepped back. And to be honest, I stepped back because my consultant started taking off. And on my social media page, like none of my social media page really talks about the consultant that I do, because I don't want to put other businesses that I'm working with like on my page and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I have done more in consulting as far as revenue than I've ever done with any of the products or any of the catering I've ever done. And so for me, I just was like, okay, well, I guess I don't need to post right now. I'm a little busy with this.
Right.
But I definitely have the guilt. Like, girl, you ain't even gonna post nothing. Nothing. Get it together. So
yeah,
I made a post this Christmas. I'm proud of myself.
But I remember like even in that same vein or whatever, like when I first started out and I thought I was like doing it, I was doing all my like videos, and this was back in the day when like real time videos, especially for calligraphy, were a thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't reels, and I just had like my little fake calendar set up, and it was this one calligrapher, and I would look at her stuff all the time or whatever, and I would be like, she don't post as much, and you know, and I just got so hardy about myself, and I told her this since, but I was so hardy about like, oh, I post and I, you know, whatever. But when she would come back and post, it was real jobs. Meanwhile, I was in my kitchen, like, or on my living room floor, like, faking with a mirror, you know, just to put my talent out there. And it wasn't a real job. And I was like, okay, but she's booked and busy.
Right.
So it's like, who cares if she's really posting on social media? Because these are, like, she has real stuff going on. So I'll say that to say that as well, in terms of the social media allure and, you know, sometimes how we look at how people are posting. And this isn't to like try to make ourselves feel better for not posting.
Right.
But sometimes, like, people that are posting every day, all day, not really doing it in real life. And so, you know, you just have to have that balance where you understand, like, who you are, what you need to do, where, again, like, your revenue is going to come in from. Like, I really worked really hard in 2020 at the beginning of it when everything kind of shut down.
Right.
To fix up my website, get my SEO going, so that I was able to, like, get people from Google searches. And so now when I look at, like, my insights for my website, like, I'm still to this day reaping the benefits of having, like, a good SEO.
Right.
And so I get, like, a lot of inquiries from Google, or even, can we talk about this Pinterest? Okay. Because this is the bane of my existence, and I really need to get somebody to do this Pinterest. Because in 2020, I posted one video on my Pinterest. And since then, it has gotten like 24 million views, like 200-some thousand saves. And since 2020, my page has consistently been in like the 100, like, thousand and up, like, monthly viewers.
Right.
I don't know how to use Pinterest. So I've been wasting a gold mine this whole time.
The whole time.
But at the same time, it's direct to people to my Etsy. It's direct to people to, like, you know, my websites, like that.
Yeah.
So it's been cool, but it's just like, if I can get a hold of this Pinterest
And work it out.
yeah. So anyway,
I don't know how to work it either, so
I know.
I use it to plan my kids' birthday parties.
Exactly. And I look all the time, and I'm a big research person. I look all the time, like, how do they do their posts? How do they still get it wrong? What are some sacrifices you think that you've made that have been worth it and have not been worth it?
Ooh, that's a good one. In the beginning.
What's the word?
In the beginning, I sacrificed time. Time, I've realized over the years, is my most precious commodity. Especially having 3 little people. Like, that was one of the reasons I started the business. Like, I want to have more time with my kids. And I made, since my oldest was born, all my decisions are based on making sure that I can, like, be the one that takes her to school and be the one that picks her up. But with doing catering, it wasn't allowing me the time, right? Because catering is really time bound. And no lie, the revenue is beautiful. But I had to think about, was it worth my time, right? We're talking about catering gigs. That's Saturday night, Friday night, Thursday nights, right?
Because it's the prep.
Yes. And it's
everything.
And those are the prime times is when people will have a party. It's Friday night, girl. You gotta drop off, you gotta pick up, you gotta make it. And I realized that wasn't something I was willing to sacrifice. So I transitioned more from catering. I still do caterings here and there. You got to be special though.
Brush those 2023 loading.
And I'll still do some, but like I said, most of what I do is consulting. Even with the seasonings that I sell, like that's not, it doesn't take my time away. I can make as much as I need to make, have it in back stock, sell out, make some more. Like that really doesn't take my time. But catering did, and so I transitioned from that. And with the consulting, you know, I let them know when I can come, when I can't come, when I'm available, when I'm not available. So I'm able to revolve my schedule around my kids' schedule, which is important. Now they're like all teenagers, and they got like track and basketball, and oh my God, I need to go here, I gotta go there. It's just a lot. And so just trying to make sure, because they're gonna be gone in a little bit, and it'll be just me. Or I'll follow them wherever they go, whatever the case may be. So I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, so the camera had cut off. Our bad. but I feel like we talked about a lot. As far as like my biggest success, oh, this part of probably one of the conversation I got cut off. So should I say it anyway? I don't know, because it's not gonna be like a conversation because it got cut out.
Oh, my
Like
part.
I think your part. I should talk about something else. I don't know. What, you got a question?
No.
So I think we talked about a lot of stuff. I didn't really talk about as much calligraphy. I do feel like, you know, if you want to learn a little bit more about calligraphy, I'll be having workshops and stuff next year. But also, if you search for all these inspirations on YouTube, you'll come across an interview we did with Daytime Chicago. And so I talk a little bit about the differences, like actual calligraphy. This is more like the entrepreneurship side of it, like building up the business, the things that are important to making sure that, like, you know, you're satisfied in your business so that it can kind of translate to your clients. And yeah, I feel like we should have one more question
Okay.
to go out.
What's your plans? This is 2020. This new year. Should be talking about our plans.
I know, right?
Like,
So-
what's one goal? One goal that you have for next year? Just one, because I'm sure you already have like a million of them.
No.
What?
I mean, yeah.
You have some goals for next year. I know you.
Honestly though, literally getting out this self-care box. Like, I know I've been talking about it forever. I've been postponing the drop forever. I literally have everything for it, but it just didn't feel like the right time.
First goal, number one.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What about you?
I have several goals for next year.
Just one.
I said I'm just gonna say one. It's one I don't want to admit,
Oh,
but it's one. I'm gonna learn to swim.
that's a good goal.
Yeah, so I already signed myself up for some classes. I'm gonna do it with Lyric, my youngest, and we're gonna learn to swim. Like, I wanna learn to swim. Like, I have all these trips planned for next year, and I'm like, girl, you can't be this close to the water and be afraid. Like, and I'm not afraid. I just really
You
want
just don't know how to do it.
Yeah, I just want to be able to swim.
Yeah.
So that's my goal. That's been a goal for like 3 years now.
Mhm.
I just haven't done it, and I'm like, no, girl, you are doing it this year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, that's a good goal. So, drop it down in the comments. What are your goals for 2023? Even for the next like video Q&A, if there are anything that you heard that you have like questions about or want us to expand on, about business, about calligraphy, about life, you know, drop it down in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, press the bell notification so that you're notified the next time that I drop. Thanks, guys. Look at my hands. Bye.
Bye.